The Tao of Self-Confidence, episode 349. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. Visit our website at thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Your inner journey to self-confidence awaits. Well, hello friend. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. I'm your host today, Sheena Yap-Chan, and today I have a phenomenal lady on the show today. She is a best-selling author with a new book called The Tea Girl of Hummingbird Lane, and I'm just really excited to have her on and share her story with us. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Lisa C. Lisa, how are you today? Maybe you can fill in a little bit more about yourself to the listeners.
Well, so like you said, I'm a writer. I'm just about to publish my 10th book, The Tea Girl of Hummingbird Lane. I have worked as a freelance journalist for all kinds of magazines and newspapers. I also have curated museum exhibitions, mostly about the Chinese American experience. And then for a long time, I was a Los Angeles City Commissioner, overseeing on the commission that oversees the city's historic center. So I'm mostly a writer, but I do other things as well.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And Lisa, what's your cultural background?
So I am Chinese American, although if people saw a picture of me, they'd be scratching their heads. I have red hair and freckles. But my great-great-grandfather came from China to work on the building of the Transcontinental Railroad. My great-grandfather came and stayed, and he had 4 wives. One of them was Caucasian. This was back when it was against the law. And so I'm descended from that particular marriage. Today in Los Angeles, I have about 400 relatives. There are about a dozen that look like me. The majority are still full Chinese, and then a little spectrum in between.
Wow, thanks for sharing that. That's quite a story. So thanks again. And what would be your favorite self-confidence quote?
I don't know that I have a favorite one. That it's an official quote. Maybe it would have to be that Nike thing. Just do it. I always feel like you just have to go out and do stuff and be brave and do it.
Thanks for sharing that. And I love that quote. It's short and sweet and really to the point. I mean, action really is the cure to increasing self-confidence, having courage. Even if it scares us, just taking action just makes us feel a lot better. So I really love that quote that you mentioned. And, in your own words, how would you define self-confidence?
I think self-confidence is when you feel like even though something makes you nervous, even though something scares you, even though you may not be 100% knowledgeable about something, that you have, literally the confidence to do it or try to do it or learn about it, that you're not afraid to even admit that you're wrong or that you don't know something, but that you're confident enough to go forward.
Thanks for sharing that. And, I love that you mentioned not being afraid, because a lot of us are too scared to maybe ask a question for fear, like if we get the wrong answer, someone might laugh at us. And, these little things is something that's so common, right? So just even admitting, like, I don't know how to do this, can you help me, is really confident enough to seek help, because we feel like...
Or sometimes when people say, they'll say, do you know what I mean? And I'll say, no, I don't. But then just say that, no, I don't. I don't know what you mean, or I don't know what you're saying. To admit that means you want to know. You want to know the truth. You're not willing to just let it glide because, as you said, you don't want to look foolish. You don't want people to laugh at you. You don't want to admit that you were wrong or didn't know.
Totally. Thanks again for sharing that definition. And Lisa, what was your life like before your discovery of self-confidence?
So actually, I was a very shy child. Very, very shy. And there are people who, of course, knew me then. And I think they're always really surprised that, for example, I can go and speak to hundreds of people at an event. For me, there wasn't an exact moment, because I feel like it was much more of a gradual process. that I had to go out and talk to groups, certainly at the start of my writing career, and I'd do a book event. There might be 5 people there, and now it might be 200 or 300 people there. So I did have that opportunity, I think, to sort of practice slowly, getting my toes wet and then a little more and then a little more. And so for me, I feel like that there may have been a moment where I thought, oh yes, I can do this, and I'm not afraid to do it, or I'm not nervous to do it, although I'm still always a little nervous, which is a good thing. They always say about Broadway actors that, if you stop having the jitters beforehand, you've really lost it as an actor, that it won't feel real and fresh. So I don't worry too much about that or beat myself up too much about still getting nervous, because I figure that must be a good thing. But that I can say yes to things knowing I can do it. But like I said, that was a gradual process over many, many years for me to get to that place.
Thanks for sharing that. I love how you mentioned that, you took gradual steps. Like you mentioned, the first event, you maybe had 5 people who came up to your book event and you just started talking to them. A lot of people will see 5 people and they're like, oh my God, this is a fail, right? This is a bust. Like, only 5 people came. But for you, it's like 5 people came. Great, I'm going to talk to them. And slowly, it was 5, then 10, then 20, then 100, and then maybe 500. And it's just like taking these small steps that really do build up that confidence. And, because of that realization, what's your life been like now?
So I'm about to embark on a book tour where I'm doing 1 or 2 events a day for about 8 weeks. If someone had told me that I would be doing that even, 20, 30 years ago, I just would not have even imagined it. And of course, in between, I'm traveling for a good part of that, like a city a day. So there's an aspect to some things where they are kind of emotionally, they take a toll or kind of grueling. To be putting yourself out like that, where if you think of it, you could think of it as like a performance, but you also, I feel it's really important to feel real and feel true as you're speaking. I think that was one of the great things of having those audiences that may have only been 5 or 10 people, was that it's not a performance, then you're really interacting with a group. And so if I can try to do that with a larger group, that's really great. But it takes a lot of emotional energy to do that. For me, anyway. And then the other aspect is that when you're traveling like that, and when you're putting out that much energy, 1 or 2 or even 3 times a day, plus interviews, it's physically tiring. Going through an airport once a day is just physically grueling. But I do feel now like, okay, I can do it. I work on things ahead of time, because this is such a set piece, right? So it's, 6 to 8 weeks of that kind of schedule. Well, I've already, for the last 8 weeks, been doing extra, upper body exercises so I can lift my carry-on suitcase above my head and not hurt my shoulder or my neck. That I've been taking extra vitamins and eating really well because I want to be as strong physically as I possibly can be as I go out. So I don't know if that answers your question, but you can always follow up with something, I guess.
No, that was great. I mean, you're out there doing what you love, and just, you, like you mentioned, just being real with people. I think that's the important part. Like, sometimes the world is missing that authenticity out there. And the more that we can be real, the more people will come to us, right? I mean,
my sons always tease me because, a lot of people do come up to me or they'll write to me and they'll say, you're so real. And so they even do this kind of imitation of people saying that to me, and they think it's funny. Of course, to them, I'm just their mom, right? But I see that as one of the greatest compliments I can get, because that means that you can't fake being real. You actually can only be, if you're being real, you can only be real. You can't really fake like a real persona. You can't really fake that. So that tells me that I am as as much myself as I can be, and that people respond to that, and that people appreciate that. And like I said, it's the greatest, to me, it's the greatest compliment I can get for that, that aspect of my life where I'm like a public person. That just makes me feel really good. In fact, my husband and I went to a concert last night. I'm not going to say who the performer was, but, beautiful, beautiful voice. But apart from that, it was such an act, and on our drive home, we were saying, well, no one's ever going to say about her, oh, she's so real. And it was very, if I closed my eyes and listened, I loved it. But as soon as I opened my eyes, I don't like this anymore. Because I was such like an act, but in quotes, it wasn't, she just wasn't very real. And it came across.
Yeah, well, thanks for sharing that part. And yeah, no, I mean, that's the greatest thing, just learning to be real and being yourself. I mean, it's the greatest thing a person can do, especially in a world like today with, social media and, like the news. I mean, sometimes we just need some more authenticity in this world. So thanks for sharing that. And Lisa, if our listeners wanted to, if they're listening to your episode and, they're in a similar journey to self-confidence, what would be that one tip you would give to them?
My one tip would be love what you do, because no matter what it is, love what you do. That could be your work, it could be play, cooking, it could be friends, how you interact with your friends. You have to really love it, because all of us go through bad patches. Even if in your career, whatever that is, that. You may be very successful, but there's still going to be bumps along the road.
Awesome. That's a great tip that you mentioned. I truly believe you got to love what you do, because then, it's never going to feel like work. There's reasons why you get up in the morning so early. It's because you just want to go out there and do the things that you love. So thanks for sharing that. And if our listeners wanted to get to know a little bit more about you and what you do, or check out your new book, is there any links or social media profiles we can connect with?
Yeah, so I have a website, www.lisac.com. I'm on Twitter, and I have a fan page on Facebook, and I always have a lot of, sort of information about China and about the Chinese American experience and about my research and things like that. It's not, I ate a ham sandwich. So it always tries to be related to sort of my larger life's work.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And to our listeners, if you want to connect with Lisa, you can also head on over to thetaoofselfconfidence.com and search for Lisa's name. Her show notes will pop up along with everything else we talked about. And I just really want to thank Lisa for taking the time to share her story with us and tips on self-confidence. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Not a problem. It was great having you on the show. And to our listeners, be on the lookout for another new episode of another amazing woman's journey to self-confidence. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now. Thank you for tuning in to another amazing episode of the Tao of Self-Confidence. Sign up for our free membership site to get more amazing resources for self-confidence by visiting our website at thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Your inner journey to self-confidence awaits.